By the end of this video, I want you to be in a position to be able to start your own couch flipping business. And it doesn't matter that I'm in the UK. This is a global opportunity. And I'm enthusiastic about it because it has genuinely changed my life. It's changed my family's life. If you're anything like me, you've probably spent years looking for this side hustle that's going to be the one. You've tried print on demand. You've tried other bits and bobs. Maybe you've even delved into crypto and nothing has worked out for you. You're probably looking at this video now with some cynicism, but I promise you, if you follow this simple advice, you'll be able to get started today. The method I'm going to show you today is really an opportunity to test the proof of concept. It means you're going to have to spend very little money to be able to see whether or not this works. And from there, you can expand and grow your business. If we haven't met already, my name is Alex. I'm so pleased to meet you. I make videos that are going to help you change your life. And I encourage you to watch this entire video. I've sequenced it in a way that's logical if you've watched the step before. However, timestamps are in the description. And also there's a link to a playlist where I'll talk about some of the topics I cover today on a bigger scale. So when you're ready to expand, that's where you can dive into. And the topics I'll cover are getting set up, the real basics, the things you need to know to start today, what equipment you're going to need, how to source the couches that are going to make you money, how to store and how to prep furniture for sale, a super simple rule for pricing, how to make sure you can sell the furniture, and how to get the furniture to your customer. So our first tip is we're going to be selling on Facebook Marketplace and we're going to be sourcing on Facebook Marketplace. So we actually want two accounts. We want an account for sourcing and we want an account for selling. Now, in an ideal world, this is where we might delegate to someone. So for example, my partner does the sourcing, I do the selling. If you're in a position to be able to do that, fantastic. Otherwise, just create two accounts, give them slightly different names, and then you can conduct one side of your business on one account and the other side of the business on the other account. I don't want you to even think or worry about storage right now. Don't think about where am I going to keep this sofa or this sofa set. For the first month or two of selling, I kept everything on my driveway, front yard, backyard, living room, wherever you can put a piece of furniture, that is where it's going to go. If it's going to go outside, all you need to do is buy some waterproof tarpaulin and a couple of rocks. We'll keep that weighted down. They're going to sell so quickly that actually they're not going to be under that tarpaulin for very long, but you want to start lo-fi so you can test the concept. Do not invest in storage until you see the return. The other thing you're going to need at some point is access to transport. But again, don't buy a van. If you've got a van, you're already winning, but do not buy a van until you have seen a proof of return. So what we're going to start by doing, and some people do this for the entirety of their business. What we're going to do is either borrow from a friend that we know have got a van, we're going to rent for the day and try and do pickups and sales on the same day, have a dedicated day and just rent a van for that period of time. Or we're going to outsource. So we're going to find people that do delivery for a living and we're just going to outsource the delivery to them. Because we're going to charge the customer a delivery fee, that's something that we can offset with our pricing, so we don't need to worry too much about that. The main message right now is storage and transport. If that's the obstacle, don't let it be the obstacle. I started without either of them. I'm now in a position where I've got a 2,000 square foot storage, I've got a van ready to go, and it's paid for by flipping. So we're set up, we've got two Facebook accounts, that's all we need to get going. One to source and one to sell. Until we have our own vehicle to do the pickup and the delivery, we want to keep things fairly local, just so we've got a smaller radius that if we do need to outsource, we aren't sending people on, 100-mile round trips. We're sending people on 20-mile round trips, and it'll just keep our costs down. When you're starting out equipment, you're just going to need a tarpaulin if something's outside. You're going to need access to a hoover, a vacuum cleaner, and ideally, you're going to have some sort of spot cleaner. The one I used at the start is a Bissell Spot Clean Pro. I've put a link to that down below. Highly recommend it. It's super compact. It does the job. It cleans pretty much anything. And you're just going to need some fabric safe degreaser and some oxy cleaner. When I first started, I had a hoover, I had a cloth, a brush, and some oxy cleaner. I didn't even get the spot cleaner until I'd sold 2 or 3 sofas to be able to make sure that this business could make me enough money to offset the cost of buying a $100 piece of equipment. So really bare bones, we need a fabric brush, we need a hoover, and we need some spray-on chemicals and perhaps some microfiber cloths. If we really want to kind of turn this into a proper business, we also want a spot cleaner. And then the last little tip is we just want a spray bottle, an empty spray bottle that we can put some liquid of our choosing in. And I'll tell you about that later on. It's going to make a real difference when it comes to selling. So sourcing our first sofa, and all we want to do to start with is find one really nice sofa set. So the big things to be aware of, we're looking for sofa sets. So usually in an ideal world, we want a 3-seater and a 2-seater or a corner sofa. 2-seaters and 2-seaters take a little bit longer to shift. 3-seaters and 3-seaters take even longer to shift. So we want a 2-seater and a 3-seater. It's a pretty standard sofa setup that most people have in their living room, or corner sofas. The other tip is we're not going to touch anything that's leather, and we're not going to touch any recliners, and we're not going to touch any sofa beds until we get started, until we've got a big enough storage. Right now we want fabric sofa sets. And we've got 3 options when it comes to sourcing. We've got manual search on Facebook Marketplace, which is where you should definitely start. You've got marketplace monitors that essentially look for keywords and ping results to you, and you can just have a monitor open rather than Facebook, and it'll tell you the second or within a couple of minutes of something being listed that fits your criteria. And the third is to delegate it, is to either ask someone in your family to be in charge of finding the sofas to sell and perhaps give them a bit of the profit, or you can pay people, you can find people online who'll do that for you. Right now, we just want to concentrate on manual sourcing. So it's just us on our phone, looking occasionally, a couple of times a day, trying to find a sofa that looks in reasonably good condition. And the first thing we're going to do, another incredible tip here, is we're going to look for sofas with poor photos. You'll often find really great furniture, it's just a terrible photo, and if no one clicks on it because the photo is terrible, that seller is not going to get any offers, they're not going to shift it. So we want to start by looking for poor photos or really odd photos, perhaps like a close-up of a cushion, and then we have to click onto the ad and cycle through to see, oh, this is actually a really nice sofa set. So we're going to start there, and we're going to be looking at sofas that are anywhere between free, ideally is where I started, $50 or $100 or pounds, depending on where you are. Now we're testing the concept. So what we're going to do is find a number of these sofas that look good, and we're going to hit up the seller and just say, hey, look, I can come and get this off your hands, but I have no budget. Obviously, if it's free, deal is done. If they want $50 to $100 for it, it's likely they're going to either instantly or after a week say, okay, yeah, you can have it for free. Because remember, the struggle that people have is actually removing sofas from their house, and you're offering that service. I'll come and get it in the van. Now, you don't have the van yet, but I'll come and get it in the van on Friday night, but I can't pay anything for it. And right now we are testing the concept. So all we want is one sofa. Remember, think about the space that we've got to store. If you've got a garage that's empty, by all means, try and source a couple. But right now, we just want to test the concept. So we're going to find the best possible one that we can get for free that's in our local area. That'll take you anywhere from 5 minutes to 90 minutes to find something that ticks those boxes. You can get it for free. It's in good condition. There's no rips. There's no tears. Maybe it just needs a bit of a clean, and it probably just needs better photos. Collection we've already talked about, really. So either you've got a van, you're going to borrow a van, you've got a friend who's got a van, or you're going to outsource it. So get some quotes from local people that offer that service. Find out how much it will be for them to go and pick up the sofa on your behalf. It's probably going to come in under $50. So we're going to factor that into our price. They'll bring that to you. Your friend will go and pick it up in their van. However it is, get that sofa to you. And now we've got it, what do we do with it? So we need to start talking about storage and prep for sale. So if it's outside, put it under a tarp. You might want to prop a couple of like rods up there or broom handles just to kind of keep the tarp off the fabric as much as possible if you live in a rainy area. Otherwise, you're going to be golden. We want to keep the sunlight off it as much as possible. So if you're storing in a greenhouse, again, covers like old bed sheets, for example, or a tarpaulin is going to be perfect. But store it where we can. We're only really going to have this sofa for a couple of days, so we don't need to worry about it too much. Then we need to figure out how to clean it. Now, we're dealing in fabric sofas. So first thing, we're going to take our cushion covers off. We're going to throw them in the washing machine on a cool wash with an antibacterial stain removal washing detergent, and we're just going to let it do its thing. If we've got our Hoover ready, we're going to Hoover the entire body of the sofa. Even if it doesn't look like it needs it, we just want to remove as much dust as possible. And then if possible, we're going to spot clean it with our Bissell or Karcher, whatever spot cleaner that we have to hand. Or we're just going to do it manually with a bit of spray, a damp microfiber, and we're just going to wipe down and get it as clean as possible. Remember, the people who are going to be buying it off you are buying a second-hand sofa. They won't expect something to look like it's come off the showroom floor. So do not overthink this stage. You are selling second-hand furniture. We want to get it as clean as possible, and I get my sofas pretty much looking brand new. But when you first started, you just want to get it clean enough so it looks good. Test out a few of the sprays that you can get. I use a fabric safe degreaser pretty much routinely and a bit of OxyCleaner, just to be slightly more cautious with OxyCleaner as it can change the colour of fabrics. So once it's on, we scrub it in and then we get it off the fabric fairly rapidly. Now we've got the sofa, we want to sell it. It's looking beautiful, but there's one last thing that we're going to do. That empty spray bottle, we're going to fill it up 2/3 with water, and then we're going to use like the nicest smelling fabric conditioner that you can find in your local shop, and then we're going to top it up with that. Give it a little shake and spray it down. That will sit on the fabric, sink and permeate through the material, make it smell beautiful, and every single customer I deliver to goes, "What have you put on this sofa because it smells unreal?" We're going to take a number of photographs in order to get this sold. So we want to take our first photograph needs to show both of the sofas, or if it's a corner sofa, the entire corner sofa. Do not upload your first photograph as, I don't know, a close-up on a cushion, which loads of people do. Your most important photograph needs to show the entire product that is being sold. If this is in our living room, great, we've got a room backdrop and we can just set it up nicely, put a few scatter cushions on it that really pop. I go with orange ones, and then we're going to place that, take a photograph, we're happy. If it's in our front yard or our backyard or our garage, we're going to place it outside with some natural light, and we're just going to make sure that like the area is clean, there's no weeds. If we're on gravel, that's fine. If we're on pavement, that's fine. I've taken the majority of my initial photographs out on my front drive, and it is gravel and it is a bit overgrown, so it's just picking the spot where that isn't the case. And then we're going to take the photo of the entire product. Then we're going to take a photo of each individual sofa, and we're also going to do a video sweeping slowly across the sofas. When you're doing a video, just be really cautious of what's in the background. So again, litter, weeds, the bins, whatever it might be, just clear that out of the way and make sure that the shot just shows the sofa. Spend time getting the photos looking nice. We already know from sourcing, if the photos are terrible, no one's even going to click on your sofa, let alone want to purchase it. If there's anything in that photograph that's going to put a buyer off, we need to retake it. Even if you've just put the sofas away, get them back out and take photos again, because we're testing the proof of concept and we want to get this right. There's no point us sitting on this sofa, pardon the pun, for longer than is necessary. Now we're going to price it. If we're dealing with a name brand, we're going to look online. We're going to figure out how much they would sell brand new. We're going to figure out whether or not we're in the kind of like mint condition, very good condition or fair condition, and we're going to set a price accordingly. But this is our first sale. So if you just want to make 200 profit, go for it. Remember, we've got to factor in the pickup and the delivery. Equipment, I don't really factor in at this stage because it's likely we're going to spread that cost over multiple sales. So a nice price to get started might be 250. You'll know what the market's like in your local area. I pretty much sell any sofa set from 250 for stuff that's in fair condition through to around 500 for stuff that's in like, it's either a really sought after model or it's in really great condition. Remember, brand new sofas cost thousands. So if you're selling for 10% of the price, it's a great photo and it's clean. It's a no-brainer. So we put our great photos up. We put our prices 250 to 350, and our title is just going to say sofa set, 2-seater and 3-seater, delivery available. That's our title of our ad. We're going to add a description. Our description needs to include an outline of the sofa. If you know the model, you're going to include what that model is. You're going to measure it, so the dimensions, you want to know, like, is this going to fit in my house? Answer all the questions that are going to be asked by the buyer before they even have to message you. So you're going to measure the height, the depth, and the width of both sofas, and you're going to include them. You're going to include a line about delivery is available for an extra fee. You're going to list that for sale, and then you're going to share it to all of the local buying groups. And it's genuinely that straightforward. People will start messaging you probably that day because you've priced it really competitively, and it's likely to have sold within 24 to 48 hours. Now, remember, you are going to add a delivery fee onto that. So let's assume that they give you their zip code, their postcode. You can then get a quote from the person who did the pickup and just say, hey, how much to take sofa from here to here? They're going to tell you it's $60, and you're going to add that onto the fee that you're charging. So if you were selling a sofa for $250, you've got a quote for $60 to do the delivery, then you can message the buyer from a place of confidence and say, right, it's $310 to get this delivered to you. If you want it gone, you might just chip a little bit off the delivery cost and take a hit on that and say, yeah, it's going to be $290 to get this to you. And then you're coming away with $180 profit. I'm telling you all this because I was in the position of trying to find the side hustle that works. And when I stumbled across this as an opportunity, I ruminated on it and I spoke to someone who was already doing it, and they just said, just do it today. I've just found this sofa in your local area. Go and get it tonight. Find a van and just go and get it and try it. And I did. I just did it. Sold it within 12 hours and suddenly had $250 in my pocket in cash, thinking, why did I not do this sooner? If this has been useful, let me know in the comments. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and I will see you in the next video because we're going to take this business to new heights.